2006, that was the year that I first got into electronic music, and by then the TB303 had already reached legendary status, with prices going from 600 to 1300 euros on the second-hand market. Even back then I thought, damn, that's crazy, I could get like a microcore with that kind of money. In my defense, I was 16 years old, alright? Give me a break. Even the clones weren't that much cheaper. Actually, some of them were more expensive than the original one. As the years flew by, I remember thinking, damn, it's 2013. Is anybody ever gonna make a decent, fully analog, affordable 303? And that lasted until about 2019, when Behringer decided to clone the 303. And I mean straight up clone it, down to the notoriously awful sequencer, but it was really cheap. I found one for 100 euros, and so of course I bought it. I started playing with it and immediately I thought, damn, it's 2023, is anybody ever gonna make a decent, fully analog, affordable 303 but with a decent sequencer this time? And so it turns out that yes, there's a company that actually did, and this company is called Donner. Donner did it. This is the Donner B1 bass synth, and this is a good time to also tell you that I haven't paid a single cent for this. Donner sent it to me for free in exchange for a review. Yes, you heard me right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big deal YouTube influencer now, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, but in all seriousness, I want to say that this is the first time I actually receive free stuff from anybody. It goes without saying that the company has no say in what I actually say in this video, so you can believe I'm not gonna pull any punches on all the things that could be improved with this machine. Also, I do have an affiliate link in the description box below, which means that if you guys are interested in purchasing this machine, you should do that by clicking on that link, which means that I get a percentage on each sale, which is cool, because then I can take that money and, you know, feed my daughter. No pressure though. Anyway, since we just mentioned the sequencer, let's start with that. I'm now on pattern 1, and as I press Rec Edit, immediately you can see that some of these pads light up. You have 16 steps and you can navigate through them using the up and down arrows. And as you go through the steps, there's a clear indication of what note they contain and whether other sounds modifier are turned on. You can also see that this particular step is off, meaning that there is a note rest on it. Speaking of which, if we want to clear the whole pattern, we keep the clear rest button pressed for a couple of seconds, and now we have a clean slate. Okay, I'm on step 1, I'm gonna press C1. Be careful, this is actually a B, this is a C. And the reason why the keyboard is laid out this way is that they needed 16 steps to use it as a sequencer, and I guess that rather than adding notes at the end, they decided to add an extra note here. Anyway, let's press C. On step 2, I'm gonna press slide and C2. Now step 3, I'm gonna just skip this by pressing rest. Now I want a long C note, maybe 2 or even 3 steps long. On older 303 synths, you would have to input the same note on however many steps you wanted it to be and press slide on all of them, and that would turn into one long note. On the B1 you can still do that, but they also added this pretty handy gate length feature. This basically decides the length of the note. And this is pretty cool because not only allows you to program longer notes, but also shorter ones. The default value is 4 and it goes up to a maximum of 8, which is double the length. And then it goes down to 0, which is basically a rest. So if I had to guess, I'd say the value of 1 is 1/16 divided by 4, which is 1/64. Alright, so in this case I'm gonna select 8 and I'm gonna have a note that is basically 2 steps long. But what if I want to make this note 3 steps long? So I'm gonna go to step 6 and press slide and C. That said, however, in order to really make it slide continuously, you still have to go to step 5 and press slide. So I guess gate length is great for notes up to double the length, but if I want to have a long note that is like 3 or 4 steps long, I'd rather use the old method. Also, gate length is pretty cool with values of 1 and 2, which creates kind of a stuttery effect, which is pretty cool. Moving on, step 7, I'm going to press accent and D sharp. Step 8, I'm going to press F. Step 9 is going to be a rest. Step 10 is going to be accent plus C an octave up. Oh, and by the way, you can transpose the keyboard an octave up or down, pressing the octave button and the up-down arrows. But in this particular case, I mean, it's right here, so I'll press on it. Step 11, I want a slide plus C. Step 12, I'm gonna keep it resting. Step 13, it's an F. Step 14, I'm gonna put a slide and a C2. Step 15, I'm gonna put a slide and a C. And on step 16, I'm gonna use another brand new, really cool sound modifier, ratchet. Ratchet is basically like a drum roll on a drum machine. The way it works is you press on the button and you select 2, 3 or 4. And so if you select 2, it's gonna squeeze 2 notes in a step. 3 is gonna squeeze 3 notes in a step, and 4 obviously is gonna squeeze 4 notes in a step. So let's hear what it sounds like. Well, that was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? Short of an actual piano roll, I believe this is the best way to input notes on a 303 style synth. And I still haven't mentioned the best thing about it. See all of these sound modifiers, meaning slide, accent, ratchet, etc. Not only we can use them when writing the pattern, we can also use them non-distractively in real time during a performance. That is pretty cool in my opinion, and it adds another element of interest in your performance, especially if you're playing back a 1-bar sequence. And speaking of longer sequences, with update 1.1, Donner has introduced song mode, and you can access it by pressing pattern twice. As you can see, I have a few slots lit up. Each of these slots contains a pattern of my choosing. This is quite convenient because there are 128 storable patterns on this machine, and the only way to navigate them while not in song mode is with the up and down arrows. So say that you're performing and you want to jump from pattern number 1 to pattern number 42, for example. It's really not doable. It took me like 4 bars to even navigate to pattern number 42. But with song mode, you can easily do it by storing pattern number 42 in the slot next to pattern 1. Now, you see that this button is also lit up. These two buttons are the global tempo switch and the chain mode switch. Each pattern on the B1 has its own tempo. When going to song mode, by default, they all unify under the same BPM. But if you turn it off, the patterns will keep their own original tempos. I don't see how that would ever be useful, but whatever, let's turn it back on. The chain switch, on the other hand, will decide whether the patterns will be chained together or not. It's off by default, which means that you have to manually switch between patterns, essentially making song mode a glorified favorite patterns view. If you turn it on, then it's gonna chain through all the patterns that you've saved. I gotta say, while song mode is definitely a welcome addition, I'd like to see some improvements. For example, many times in a song I find myself making a 2-bar loop for the intro, and a different 2-bar loop for the verse, and maybe a 4-bar loop for the drop or whatever. And the way this is structured, you're either stuck with 1 bar at a time, or you're forced to cycle through your entire pattern collection. It'd be great to have something like ranges of patterns, like in the original TB303, where you can select, say, 1 through 4, and that will make it cycle from slot 1 to slot 4, and then, 5 through 8, etc, etc. And also, barring any physical limitations on this machine, meaning lack of memory for example, I would like to see the ability to store multiple songs, and they could possibly implement this by using all of these buttons, which are not currently doing anything while in song mode. And I know for a fact that Donner was pretty quick at working on version 1.1 and song mode, so I have to believe that they might be able to implement these features. So yeah, consider this a formal feature request. Alright, let's talk about sound. While I was playing this, I felt something was a bit off. And granted, I don't have an actual original Roland TB-303, but I do have a Behringer TD-3, which is, as far as I can tell, basically the same machine. In fact, I still don't understand how Roland hasn't sued Behringer into oblivion already. But that's another discussion for another time, and probably a better YouTuber than me. I love you, Ben Jordan. Anyway, I decided to program the same exact pattern on both machines, in order to do a cheeky little blind test for you. Here we go. So, what do you think? Did you prefer Synth A or Synth B? To be honest with you, I didn't think I would detect much difference in sound between the two units, but I really did. Especially with the square wave. I mean, Synth A was so much more mellow and hollowed out, and to be honest, much closer to my idea of a 303. Synth B was quite harsh. The accents were stronger, even though I placed the knobs at the same value on both machines. Even the filter sounded so much more resonant on Synth B, although I didn't notice the same differences while using the sawtooth wave. So maybe it's the square waves which are completely different on the two machines, and maybe on Synth B the square wave, it has got so much more like top end, and that results in even harsher resonance in the filter and even harsher distortion. I don't know. Speaking of distortion, when using the sawtooth wave, the two machines were pretty comparable to me, but square wave with distortion on Synth B, that sounded really nasty to my ears at certain points. Oh, and by the way, you want to know which one was which, right? Okay, so drum roll please. Synth A was the TD-3 and Synth B was the Donner B1. I'd say that sound-wise, I still prefer the TD-3 over the Donner B1. But hey, it's not like the B1 sounds any bad. I'm just hyper-fixating because isn't that what reviewers do? No, seriously, I'm asking genuinely, I'm not a reviewer, I just like to use these things. At the end of the day, in my opinion, it's all about using them in context, meaning in your own productions. And if they sound good in your mix, then you're good. So in that spirit, I went ahead and made a little song for you. All in all, the Donner B1 is really quite affordable. It's super intuitive and easy to program. It's really fun, especially using the sound modifiers live. Has got good I/O in terms of MIDI and USB-C. It's got a distortion and a delay, but also it doesn't sound 100% like a 303 in my honest opinion. The distortion can get quite nasty and not in a good way, and also the delay is only mono. Song mode needs to be slightly improved, and also the buttons are small and hard to read, although you get used to them after a while. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment box below, and I especially want to hear your opinion about the sound. Also, if you do decide to buy it, please consider using my affiliate link in the description box below, so that I can finally get my 10%. Did you hear that, Korg? Anyway, love you. Please like and subscribe, and download my sample packs and all of that nice stuff. Visit bigomami.com and blah 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 blah. Mwah. See you next time.